I'm going to be showing how to weave on a Sami loom today. Now this particular loom is similar to a regular rigid Heddle, and it was made for me by some Sami weavers called Stoorstalka, and they designed it in according to a type of loom that I found on the internet that was a photocopy in a museum. And the unusual thing about this loom is that it's like a rigid Heddle, but it has an extra set of holes in the top, in addition to the regular holes and the slots that you have in a rigid Heddle. And what this gives you is a way to weave pattern threads and pick them up easily because they sit on top, and you can. So you're really only working the design over the, in this case, the 9 pattern threads. And the other ones weave the ground warp, the top and the bottom, depending on whether you're lifting or lowering the shed. So you are only working on the pattern threads here and either raising them up above the warp or dropping them below to create the patterns. And what this gives you is a band that produces a mirror image of the pattern on the reverse as the pattern warp thread moves up and down above and below the warp threads. Now Sami looms are traditionally woven similar to backstrap loom. One end of the warp is tied to a chair or a table leg or a tree or whatever you can find to fasten it to. In my case, I have it tied to the warping board that sits on my loom. And the other end of the weaving is attached to your waist as tied to a belt, and you can adjust the tension by moving back and forth, up and down. I find it really quite difficult on my back, so what I've decided to use is clipping it to an art board that I bought, and then I just use a paper clip to adjust the tension. And I find that the weight of the warping board as it sits on my legs, which are resting on a stool, is enough to hold the tension tight while I'm weaving. So the way to weave a Sami draft is the warp threads, the ground warp, just weave up and down, and all that you're doing is picking up the pattern threads. And according to the draft, you're going to read it from the bottom to the top, or from the top to the bottom, whichever is easier for you to read. And you're going to pick up just the warp threads that are in white on this pattern, and you're going to drop all the other pattern threads below the warp. Now when you weave on a rigid Heddle loom of any sort, if you raise the reed, you'll find that it creates a shed in there for you to throw the shuttle. And then when you drop the shuttle to the other side, to the other way, all the opposite ground warp threads come up, creating a shed again. And in the double hole rigid Heddle, you'll find that the pattern threads, when you drop the shuttle, now sit in between the two ground warp threads, and then you can just pick up the appropriate threads according to the pattern and weave in that space that is created between them. So I'm going to work my way through a few rows of this pattern. At the bottom, reading this bottom row, in the first row you're picking up threads 1, number 5, and number 9, and in the following you're picking up threads 4, 5, and 6. And then the third row, which is what I'm working on now, I'm going to pick up number 3, number 5, and number 7. And in this case, I'm starting out with the bottom thread. So I'm pushing push the reed to the end of the art board so that I have room for it to push down. I raise the ground warp threads up, and I open up this space, and I pick up threads number 3, 5, and 7. I hold those up, I push all the other ones down, and I push, and then I put the shuttle through that open warp shed, and then I tighten it into place. On the next row, I'm going to raise the reed and pull it forward towards you so that you open the shed up. Run your hand in there to adjust the tension by tweaking it a bit here so that it keeps the warp from getting wider and wider as you go along. And now I'm going to pick up the top warp threads from the next row. These ones on the right hand side and on the left hand side are all the ground warp threads that will remain raised, so I transfer those to my right hand, and then I pick from here the pattern warp threads according to my design. And I want to, in the first one, I want to drop the first row, the drop thread. So I transfer the ground warp to my right hand and I drop the pattern. The next ones, I want the next 3 pattern threads. I'm picking up both the ground and the pattern, the ground and the pattern, the ground and the pattern. The center row number 5, I want to drop the pattern thread and transfer the other one to my right hand. And then again, I'm picking up the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm dropping the last pattern thread. I hold my hand in there and I pass the shuttle through. Tighten the tension and again move the reed forward, raise the next ground warp threads up, open the shed, and then pick from the center the following pattern. So it's going to be number 1, number 3, number 7, and number 9. Hold those up and pass the shuttle through that open shed. Adjust the tension, and I raise again the reed up, open the warp shed, adjust the tension, transfer these threads to my right hand, and again pick threads that I want. So I want number 1, number 2, I drop 3, drop 4, drop 5, drop 6, drop 7, pick up number 8, and pick up number 9. And pass the shuttle through. Move the reed forward, pick up the ground warp threads, open the shed, pick up number 1, number 3, number 7, and number 9. Drop all the other ones and pass the shuttle through the shed. Open the shed, transfer these to my right hand, then I'm going to pick up number 2, number 3, number 4, drop number 5, pick up 6, 7, 8, drop 9. Push forward the reed, pick up the ground warp threads, open the shed, and pick up number 3, number 5, and number 7. Push the other ones all down and pass the shed through. Again, pull the reed forward, open the shed, drop that one, drop that one, pick up 1, 2, 3, drop that, drop that, drop that, and pass the shuttle through. Push the reed forward, pick up the threads, open the shed up,